How does a small-town girl from Pennsylvania, armed with just a guitar and an unstoppable dream, rise to become the most powerful woman in the music industry and the first artist to build a billion-dollar empire primarily through music alone? This isn't just a story of fame and fortune. It's the story of ambition, resilience, and a vision so strong that it redefined what it means to be a global superstar. Taylor Swift is more than a singer. She is a cultural force, a brand, and a self-made mogul whose name is now synonymous with influence. While many artists rely heavily on endorsements, side businesses, or inherited wealth to cross into billionaire territory, Taylor did it in a way that very few ever have, by turning her craft, her art, and her loyal fan base into a global powerhouse. Her journey is proof that success is not always about being the loudest, the flashiest, or even the richest at the start. It's about persistence, reinvention, and daring to make choices that others consider too risky. At just 14 years old, she left behind the comfort of home to chase a dream in Nashville, the heart of country music. Many told her she wouldn't make it. She was too young, too ambitious, or too different. But what most people overlooked was her ability to blend creativity with business instincts, even as a teenager. From that very beginning, Taylor Swift was writing not only lyrics, but also the blueprint of an empire. She understood something many artists struggle with. Music is not just art, it's ownership. And ownership in the long run is power. Today, the numbers speak louder than words. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour is not only one of the most successful tours in history, it reshaped entire economies in the cities it touched. Hotels filled up, local businesses flourished, and governments even tracked her concerts as a boost to GDP. She became a walking industry, proving that her presence alone could shift markets. That's the level of influence only a handful of individuals in history have ever held. But the secret to Taylor's success doesn't lie only in record-breaking tours or best-selling albums. It lies in her ability to reinvent herself with every album while staying authentic to her fans. It lies in her willingness to fight for her art when others tried to own it. And it lies in her uncanny ability to merge storytelling with strategy, transforming her personal journey into a global brand. This is why Taylor Swift is not just introduced as a singer anymore, she is a global business icon. Her name is mentioned alongside the world's most influential entrepreneurs and billionaires. She has achieved what few thought possible, building a billion-dollar empire rooted in pure artistry. So, how exactly did Taylor Swift transform from a 4-year-old girl with a dream into a billionaire who redefined the music industry? That's what we're about to uncover in this story. Her journey, her battles, and the billion-dollar strategies that made her unstoppable. Taylor Allison Swift was born on the 13th of December, 1989, in Reading, Pennsylvania. Long before the billion-dollar tours and Grammy stages, she was just a little girl with a dream bigger than the small Christmas tree farm she grew up on. Taylor's love for music came early. By the age of 10, she was performing at local fairs, contests, and even the national anthem at sports games. But what set her apart wasn't just her voice. It was her storytelling. Unlike many children who simply sang along to popular tunes, Taylor was crafting her own. She discovered songwriting almost by accident, after a computer repairman visiting her home showed her a few chords on the guitar. Those simple chords ignited a fire. Soon, Taylor was writing songs that captured feelings well beyond her years. While other kids her age were focused on school dances and playground chatter, Taylor was building the foundation of an empire through lyrics scribbled in notebooks. But passion alone isn't enough. The road to stardom was anything but easy. At just 11 years old, Taylor and her mother traveled to Nashville, the mecca of country music, with a demo CD in hand. She knocked on record label doors, hoping for a breakthrough. Every single one turned her down. For most children, rejection like this would have been crushing. For Taylor, it was fuel. She returned home, sharpened her craft, and vowed not to quit until Nashville opened its doors. Her persistence paid off. By 14, Taylor's family made a bold move. They relocated to Hendersonville, Tennessee, just outside Nashville, to give her career a real chance. That same year, Taylor became the youngest artist ever signed by Sony ATV Publishing. It wasn't superstardom yet, but it was a foot in the door. A year later, she signed her first record deal with Big Machine Records. For a teenager, this was the dream becoming reality. But no one could predict just how far she would take it. Taylor Swift's self-titled debut album, released in 2006, was the start of something extraordinary. At only 16, she wasn't just performing songs, she was telling her story. Songs like Tim McGraw and Teardrops on My Guitar struck a chord with audiences who saw themselves in her lyrics. The album went platinum, turning the young girl from Pennsylvania into a rising star in Nashville. Her second album, Fearless, 2008, was a defining moment. It wasn't just successful, it was groundbreaking. The album became the best-selling release of 2009 in the US and won 4 Grammy Awards, including the coveted Album of the Year, making Taylor the youngest artist ever to receive the honor at that time. Hits like Love Story and You Belong With Me became anthems for a generation. But beyond commercial success, Taylor established herself as something rare in the music industry, a true singer-songwriter. She wasn't dependent on producers handing her songs, she was the voice and the pen behind her music. This authenticity built an unshakable bond with her fans. They weren't just listening to Taylor Swift, they were living their own lives through her words. By the end of the 2002, Taylor was no longer just another country singer. She had become the face of a new generation of music. Yet, this was only the beginning. By 2014, Taylor Swift had already achieved everything a country artist could dream of. But she wasn't content with staying in one lane. She wanted to dominate the global stage. This led to one of the boldest moves of her career, the full transition to pop with her album 1989. Critics were skeptical. Could a country superstar really succeed in pop music, where competition was fierce and dominated by global icons like Beyoncé, Rihanna, and Katy Perry? Taylor didn't just succeed, she redefined the genre. 1989 sold over 10 million copies worldwide and produced multiple number 1 hits like Shake It Off, Blank Space, and Bad Blood. The album won the Grammy for Album of the Year, cementing her as a cross-genre powerhouse. But music sales were only part of the story. Taylor's 1989 world tour grossed over $250 million, one of the highest-grossing tours of the decade. Her ability to fill stadiums across continents proved she wasn't just a country star or a pop star, she was a global icon. What made this shift even more remarkable was her ability to reinvent her brand while keeping her authenticity intact. Every album became an era, with its own distinct sound, visuals, and message. She wasn't just releasing albums, she was creating cultural moments. This reinvention strategy kept her relevant, generation after generation, in an industry where most stars fade quickly. But Taylor Swift's story isn't just about music, it's about business. And her battles for ownership turned her into a true mogul. In 2019, Taylor's former label, Big Machine Records, sold the rights to her first 6 albums masters to Scooter Braun, a move that shocked and angered her. Imagine creating years of work songs written from the depths of your heart, only to have someone else own them. For many artists, this would be the end of the story, but Taylor turned it into a revolution. Instead of accepting defeat, she came up with a groundbreaking plan: re-record her first 6 albums as Taylor's version. This was more than a business move, it was a statement. She proved that artists should have control over their creations, and millions of fans supported her by streaming and purchasing her re-recordings. Albums like Fearless, Taylor's version, and Red Taylor's version topped charts worldwide, often outperforming the originals. Her fight for ownership highlighted a bigger issue in the music industry: how much control artists truly have over their work. By taking a stand, Taylor didn't just reclaim her art, she inspired a new generation of musicians to fight for their rights. This mindset, seeing challenges as opportunities, is what separates Taylor from so many others. Instead of letting setbacks define her, she turned them into stepping stones for even greater success. Her re-recording strategy alone has added hundreds of millions to her net worth and solidified her reputation as not just a performer, but a savvy businesswoman. If there is one factor that pushed Taylor Swift over the billion-dollar mark, Taylor Swift's concerts are not just shows, they are cultural moments. And the biggest proof of that is the Eras Tour. This wasn't a simple tour. It was a journey through her entire career. Every era of her music brought to life with its own style, stage, and storytelling. The impact went far beyond music. Wherever Taylor performed, cities transformed. Fans traveled across countries, hotels sold out, restaurants overflowed, and local economies reached record highs. Economists even started calling it the Taylor Swift effect. Financially, the numbers are historic. The Eras Tour is on track to cross $2 billion in ticket sales, the highest grossing tour of all time. Add merchandise sales, and it becomes clear: Taylor Swift didn't just perform, she built an empire through her art. But her brilliance doesn't stop there. Every album release is crafted like an event. Special editions, vinyl records, exclusive collections. She has turned her music into collectible history. Her entry into film and streaming was no less powerful. From documentaries to the Eras Tour film, she proved she can rival Hollywood itself, generating hundreds of millions in revenue. Her business strategy is built on authenticity. She chooses brand deals carefully, aligning only with companies that reflect her values. This way, she protects her identity while multiplying her influence. And behind it all, there are the fans, the Swifties. They don't just listen, they live her music. They search for clues in her lyrics, celebrate every release, and stay fiercely loyal. With an audience like this, every move she makes turns into a global event. Social media has only amplified this connection. Unlike others who simply promote, Taylor creates conversations. She drops hints, engages directly, and makes millions feel personally connected. Her influence reaches beyond fans into the music industry itself. By pulling her music from Spotify in 2014, she forced a change in how artists are valued. By fighting for her master recordings, she sparked a movement for creative ownership. Taylor isn't just surviving in the industry, she's reshaping it. And behind the fame and fortune lies her generosity. She donates to schools, supports families, funds disaster relief, and has quietly changed lives without asking for recognition. Even her words spark real-world impact. When she speaks on social issues, people listen and action follows. This is true power. Taylor Swift has turned her journey from a small-town girl with a guitar into a billion-dollar empire. She has proved that music is not just entertainment. It can move economies, rewrite industries, and inspire generations. From rejection to resilience, from songs to stadiums, from albums to an empire, Taylor Swift didn't just become a superstar. She became a force of change.
Lightbulb, don't forget to like and subscribe for more powerful stories like this.